My name is Elijah Gage. I'm 14 years old and I have autism. I have a service dog. Her name's Emma. She's my best friend.
At a very early age, we recognized Elijah was different. He would sit in the corner. He would be nonverbal. He would fall down and scrape his knee and not cry. And you're like, you know, what's going on with, that's just not normal.
He would ride the carousel and could care less about the horses. He wants down and he's watching the mechanics on the inside of the carousel work. So at a very early age, we knew he was destined for great things. We just didn't know that autism was the bearer for it.
Madison is a wonderful young lady, friendly, she has a wonderful heart. She's just an all-around good girl. We brought her home from the hospital. She was a happy and healthy baby. Then at about 22 months, we started noticing a twitching on her right side of her face. And we figured out that it was seizures and that she did have epilepsy. There was a time when she was having seizures every night when she would go to sleep. So either Kevin or I would go down and we'd have to lay in bed with her. And then she'd have a seizure and we'd be there for her and then she would go to sleep. We always slept with one eye open, you know, or one ear open, I guess, so we could hear if she did have a seizure.
She could have a seizure that was totally silent. So even if you're in the same room and you're washing dishes or you're doing whatever, she could be seizing. My wife had to quit her job, had to just basically dedicate her whole life to being her caregiver.
Life before Emma was very hard. Most kids sit, hug, love, touch you. They don't cry all the time. Elijah never slept. He didn't play with his toys. If you played with him, you played the toy or the game. He sat and watched. He was very timid, very scared. He didn't interact with people very much.
Didn't want to talk to people at school, didn't want to sit with them at lunch, you know. Didn't really want to do anything.
So it was hard for him. It was hard for him to communicate with kids.
We've had her to various hospitals, Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, Cleveland Clinic, of course, UAB. We've seen numerous doctors.
We've tried maybe 8 or 10 different medicines and combinations of several at a time. I think now she's probably on 3. We were kind of struggling with what's the best way of handling this, even though I personally thought maybe having a dog in high school might not be the best way of fitting in. But my wife and Madison both were like, no, I really think that's the right move.
Elijah's Nana, besides his mama, was and will always be his biggest advocate. She had actually heard of the program, did all the research, and then presented it to Chris and I. At this point, we had nothing to lose. I mean, we had been every other route to try and help him, and nothing was working. So we submitted our application, and Francis said, you know, I think we have a dog that might fit Elijah, that sounds perfect for Elijah. And it turned out she was. When the two got together, the very first day, you could tell they were cut from the same cloth. They were immediate friends. He fell in love with her the moment he saw her. It was magic.
It was a, I got your back and you got my back kind of thing. And they were inseparable.
He had a buddy for the first time in his life, even when mom or dad couldn't be that. So she gave us him, my baby.
Really, there's no replacement for Buck. There's nothing else out there like a service dog. Now, you could get a person to be with her 24 hours a day, but that's just not feasible. But Buck fills that bill. He's given her a lot more freedom. And she can be in her room by herself. She can be outside. You know, if she's on one side of the house and I'm on the other, I don't always have to go and keep checking on her because I know that Buck will come get me if she has a seizure.
He'll go get my parents and bark and come back to me, which is nice because I can always depend on him whenever I have a seizure.
Dogs can smell 100,000 times better than a human can smell. So actually everything that we train can turn into a scent once the dog is placed with their recipient. For instance, if we're training a dog for intervention, we are training them to recognize body language that would indicate that that person is becoming stressed. But because of the way dogs smell everything, then it becomes a smell, and they can associate that smell with that body language, and then what happens is they start intercepting that behavior sooner because they know the scents that are coming before they actually witness the behavior.
When you're dealing with a child on the spectrum, they typically have a very low tolerance for noises. Their sensories are kind of on overload most of the time, and so that dog is able to provide them comfort and a distraction and grounding techniques to keep them from going into panic attacks.
She usually puts all the attention on herself, and not what's bothering me. She said she takes my mind off it. She's like, see what's going on with me, not what's going on to make you get all mad or sad or this or that, Like it just diverts my attention away from that.
Emma changed my life because of the changes she made with Elijah. She's given us a kid that we didn't know we had.
You hear the same thing a lot. We just didn't think this was going to work. We were at our wits' end. We were looking for hope, and boom, we had to learn a new kid because we had known this child one way for so long, and now quickly but slowly, he was changing. And to us, it seemed instant. I'm sure it took months and months for it to happen, but for us, there was something new every day.
It has helped Madison tremendously make friends. She's had some struggles in that area, but everybody loves Buck, and so he's a magnet for friends and and there's so many people that just love dogs and want to find out his story.
I consider him mostly as my best friend and also my hero that will always be with me.
We are extremely grateful for all of the organizations and the families that have contributed money, resources to help these families get these dogs, because they make such a huge difference in these families' lives.
Thank God for Service Dogs Alabama. They changed our life. I've seen them change so many other people's lives. From the service dog out, I'd recommend them to anybody. We tell everyone we can about them.